Hello, everybody. Mic check, check. All right. Today I'm going to be working on something a little different than the usual Behemoth mission. I want to step away from that for 1 or 2 sessions and work on something that's kind of overdue, which is the Critters system, not to be confused with the Creatures system. Creatures are things like wolves and bears and cows and large creatures. They're just a world item script like any other world item script, like characters and money and all that. Um, Critters are those little animals that you see spawning and despawning rapidly around you to sort of create the impression of an ecosystem. And they're much more lightweight. They don't save and load their state. They're just sort of created and destroyed at whim, at will by the system. Um, but there's one exception, and that's what I want to work on today, and that's the butterflies. So let me pause this and we'll open up our Critters Manager. Okay. So here we've got a list of critter templates. These are all the different kinds of critters that we can have. One of which is the butterfly. And these are just prefabs that are spawned and despawned at whim. And these are the active critters. These are the ones that are currently in the scene. Let's select one of those. There it is. And they're really simple. Like I said, they're not world items. A world item is a pretty dense object that has a lot of scripts attached to it just to make it do fairly simple things, but these guys are just a collider, a rigid body, maybe some animation, and a critter script. So I'm going to open up the Critters Manager here. I've defined a testing critters here to make it easier to work with the butterflies. What I've done is, normally what you do is you get the current biome. Might as well open that up while we're here. Da, 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 da. Where are you hiding biomes? All right, a biome is just a bunch of attributes that sort of define the way things are supposed to look and sound, and what kind of color effect you apply to the screen, how much rain, the tide variation, blah blah blah. And one of the things in there are a list of day critter types and night critter types, and it's just strings that that name these prefabs. So butterfly would be one. And usually a biome has like 5 or 6 different types. I don't want to do that. I don't want to go searching around for butterflies, so I shut off going to the biome to find the critter types, and instead we just use the current critter types, which I defined solely as butterfly. So we're just spawning butterflies. And what I want to do is, first of all, refamiliarize myself with the critter system, because it's been a long time since I looked at it, which is good news for you because you'll be learning along with me. And then I want to work on actually implementing something that I prototyped way back in the day, which is a treasure-seeking critter. And this is from way back in the Kickstarter. We talked about creating a butterfly that would roam around the world, it would be a special butterfly, and it would land on valuable objects and potentially reveal secrets. And I prototyped this, but it was using systems that don't exist now, or which are so different now that they might as well not exist. And I've never gotten around all the way back around to implementing it for real. I'm going to change this. That's better. Okay. So first, the critter script. This is all of it. As you can see, it's not very complicated compared to most stuff in this game. A critter implements the item of interest interface. Oh wait, let me open up my chat log. Hi guys, sorry, I forgot about the chat. Pop out. There we go. Well, I suppose that nuked what you just said. That's unfortunate. Okay. Hello, Flint. Phantom unboxing. This is odd seeing myself here. Hello, my friend. How come you don't stream often? I stream relatively often. I don't stream every day, but whenever I can. Seriously, this is freaking me out that I'm seeing myself. Your butterfly are way too complicated. Whenever I make a creature, I just make them derp around. Well, these guys just derp around. I'll explain where the complexity comes from. Okay, so first of all, if you want to interact with an object in this world, if you want to be able to like right-click it and pull up a context menu, or if you want the player to be able to notice it and have it highlight and all of those kinds of things. If you want other objects to be able to detect its presence and interact with it, it has to implement an item of interest interface. And this is just like the bare minimum set of information that you need. You return an item of interest type. It can be any of these things. And I believe a critter returns the type scenery. Let's see. Yeah, scenery. And also a position. You can check whether it has certain scripts or has at least one script. And then depending on the type, you can get each of these scripts from it. And yeah, whether it's destroyed and whether it has player focus. So that's bare minimum, but it does add a lot of stuff. It also implements the damageable interface. And this is the bare minimum of what you need if you want to be able to take damage from weapons or other creatures or whatever. You need a material type, an armor material type, like what last body part you hit, blah, blah, blah. And then you have a function that takes damage from something with all of these parameters. And that's way more than the critter actually needs because they're universally one shot, one kill, but I still have to implement it. So we can collapse these. This doesn't really contribute anything to the functionality. So really, this is it. You wake up and you assign a bunch of stuff. And then here is the derp around function. Every so often, the critters manager cycles through each of the active critters in its current list and tells it to update its movement based on the player position. And all this does is, based on whether it flies or not, it adds a velocity to it and updates its orientation. And then if it has a light attached to it, like a firefly, it updates the light as well, but butterflies don't, so. And, oh, what's this? Create friendly trail. Let's see what that's about. I don't recall this. Friendly. It looks, this is ringing a bell. What was I up to here? It looks like I might have gotten started on this special butterfly thing. All right, well, for a moment, let's actually like watch them in action. There's nothing really complicated going on here with their movement. It's just a rigid body sort of applying random movement, right? Just and because they're rigid bodies, they collide with objects in the world, like the terrain and stuff, so I don't have to worry about pathfinding or anything like that. I mean, I wouldn't anyway, because they're just dumb creatures. They're not supposed to know where to go. However, we're going to try and change that in the case of special butterflies. Okay, I think this is one of our, or it was one of our friendly butterflies. Let me pause real quick and see what I'm up to here. Presumably I set this here. If Unity editor, new creature friendly. Okay, so it looks like I was testing this. There's a 10% chance of a creature, a new creature that I spawn being friendly, which just right now means that I attach a trail to it, a trail renderer, so I can identify it visually. My guess is that I was getting started on implementing friendly creatures, and that's about as far as I got. Be right back. All right, we'll see you in a moment. Phantom unboxing. All right, now butterflies, I know, have a special script that extends Critter and does something slightly more interesting with it. But this is the part that I totally don't remember. I'm pretty up to date on Critter because there's not a lot to forget here. You know, like that's it. But the flower-seeking Critter, this gets a little more complicated, and it's in the direction of what we want to achieve for butterflies eventually. Flower-seeking Critter, I believe bees. Bees are flower-seeking critters. Let's check all of our critters here. Bat, bee, butterfly, dragonfly is a flower-seeking critter. Firefly is not. Fish is not. All right. So bee, butterfly, and dragonfly. These are our three flower-seeking critters. So on start, we find flowers over time. Let's see what this is about. While we're resting on a flower, don't bother to look for a flower, okay. While we're startled, don't look for a flower, okay. Now, while the current flower equals null, find something between the player and the critter, closer if it's friendlier, okay. If plants get nearest flowering plant, well, that's a clever function. Let's see what it does. That's pretty much brute force. We look through all of our active plants and we check to see if the plant has flowers. And if it isn't the last plant that we got, which is what we pass here. Okay, so that's pretty simple. If we get a flowering plant, then we set our flower position to current flower, get random flower position. I'm guessing this pulls from one of the various points on the plant which can spawn a flower. Yes, it does. Okay, it just returns a random one. That's great. I'm so clever. Okay. Then we say waiting for flower. Okay, this is coming back to me. So what happens here is we've got two update functions. One is just to find the flowers over time. All it does is find the flowers. The second is to actually make the butterfly move and fly towards it and or rest on it or whatever. So if we're resting on the flower, like we've got a flower and we're resting on it, we don't apply any forces. We just zip over to the position and stay on it. I think we should be able to observe this here. I believe there are a couple of flowers in this area. I might not have spawned in the best area. Yeah, so it'll wait on the flower and just stay there without applying any forces to itself. And if I get too close, let me see what happens. How does it detect if I'm too close? It's a straightforward distance check, and I have a startle threshold. And if I'm crouching, I can get closer without startling it. So okay, that's coming back to me too. That is in order for me to get up close to the butterfly and potentially be able to name it by right-clicking on it. Okay, so I have gotten farther than I expected here. Just gotta find a flower somewhere. And by flower, I mean something specific. It's a plant. Scattered throughout the world, there are these things called plant templates. I'm going to depth sprint here. They're just these placeholders, and they have nothing to do with this just aesthetic grass and foliage here. And in these placeholders, based on the climate and the time of year, I can spawn complex flower objects, and that's what these butterflies are looking for. But first I have to get near some, and they have to be active. I'm not seeing any yet. I know there are some in the swamp though, so I'll just zip over here. Do I see some? Yes. I believe you are flowers. Yes, you are. There you are. Okay, so that's a flower, and it does have, oh, look at that. It's working. Oh my goodness. They're eager, aren't they? I guess it's because it's the only flower for quite a ways. Okay. I'm gonna go over here. Yep. There we go. Okay. I can't quite tell what's going on with these guys. It looks almost like they're despawning, but I don't think that's the case. Let's take a look at the critters interface and see what it's doing. Not the critters interface, the critters manager. We'll see if these are being spawned and despawned, or if... Well, they are being spawned and despawned. Would you look at that? All right, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna go back over to this flower because that wasn't happening here. I have a suspicion the flower position might be returning out of range values, and so the butterfly is zipping off to some place far away and despawning. Here they're not doing that, so all the flower positions, I'm guessing, are set correctly. Okay, so what we're watching is basically a queue forming. One butterfly gets the flower, the rest just sort of hover around waiting, and then when he departs, the next one hops on, and then they reshuffle. And it's not based on, I mean, it's not an actual queue. I don't put them in a list or anything. It's just based on who's closest when the next butterfly departs. So Okay, so what I want to do is I want to take this script and extend it even further. We're going to save it as a new thing here. Treasure seeking critter. And that's going to... Oh. And that crashed us. But that's okay. Okay. So because we're seeing that work, and I feel pretty good about my overall method, I'm just going to adapt it. I'm not going to be too clever here. We're going to have a world item instead of a world item instead of a flower. It's nice when you're looking at old code to find it actually quite good. It's one of the amazing parts of game dev, giving your games life. Yeah, looking at old code and realizing that you weren't a bumbling idiot is a nice feeling. Doesn't happen often, but when it does, fist bump. And yeah, I agree. One of my favorite things was turning on the critter system for the first time and seeing, before they were even doing anything interesting, just seeing these creatures just sort of like flumping around. I hadn't got the flying right yet, and they were falling off objects and dying, but just feeling like it was a little bit more alive was a lot of fun. It really helped the game feel less empty. Okay. Okay. Da-da-da-da. Are we ever going to wait for a valuable? Well, I'm not going to overthink it. We'll just copy what I was doing earlier, and then we'll modify it. Current flower has moved. That's interesting. When does this come into play? Current valuable equals null, or the current valuable position is not equal. Oh, I see. So if I were to pick up the flower and move it or something, then I would consider it lost. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. We want to keep the startle threshold. That's good. Oh, I see. And in my flower seeking critter, in order to be startled, I have to not be friendly. So I took that into account as well. So if a butterfly is friendly, then... Okay, so I was planning for this. Because you don't want to you don't want to startle your friendly butterfly off of a valuable just by moving up close to it. And yeah, okay. Good. Okay. Now the real trick here is going to be, I'm happy with the actual movement in search of the valuable. The real trick is going to be finding the valuables, because I don't have, you know, world items get nearest valuable thing the way I have plants get nearest flowering plant. So this is where we start to diverge. Carnivorous plant. Do I have carnivorous plants? Is that what was happening? Were they being eaten? That would be funny if I'd just forgotten. Okay, so we don't want the butterfly to land on just anything. We have to define kind of a narrow range of things that are considered valuable. And that would include currency. What I'm doing is I'm defining a list of scripts that could be attached to a world item that would at least suggest that it's valuable. If it's currency, then yes. So the butterfly would land on a coin or whatever. Flammable? No, not really. I wouldn't say so. Edible? Would edible be valuable technically? Not really. Luminite would be. For sure. Oh, hidden. We want the butterflies. No, we're going to make two lists. Valuables normal and valuables friendly. And friendly butterflies will seek out hidden objects. And by hidden, I mean hidden by magic, like invisible. Doors, keys. We don't want them to just land on any old door or key. Campsites, no, it doesn't matter. Other creatures, no. World plants, no. They're already going to... Wait. What am I doing? We don't have to define two different kinds of things because only friendly butterflies are going to be doing this. I forgot that a regular butterfly is just going to be landing on flowers. So there's no such thing as valuables normal and valuables friendly. Artifact. Those are valuable. And artifact shards are also valuable and difficult to see. And let's say destructible wall. That's good. Yeah. Because those can be tricky to see. So if these butterflies land on those, that'll be useful. That will be living up to their purpose. And while I'm at it, I'm going to do a catch-all here in case I ever want to do something explicitly secret, like just for this sort of system to find. I don't have a secret script to find, I don't think. No, I don't. So I'll just leave that in here. Searching for a script that isn't defined doesn't hurt anything, so. Okay. So. We still got remnants of the old in here. I'm hesitant to just do a find replace on all instances of flower because it never turns out well. Aha. Okay. So now that we've got a list of scripts that we want to find, we can use the groups manager to search for items. Search. Okay. See, get all children by type. We can search within a start group. We can pass it a list of script types. We pass it an empty list of children that it fills. Search origin or radius and a max number of items. So this is what we're going to be calling here. Get all children by type. And I suppose we'll limit our search to well, the butterfly doesn't have a group because it's not a world item. Only world items have groups. So how am I going to determine? Oh, I know. I'll limit the search to whatever location the player is in currently. IntelliSense isn't helping here, so let's look at our player surrounding script. Now, where do I keep the player's current group? I know I check it in item placement. Oh, I just get it from groups. Okay. Well, that makes sense. Okay, so I get the current group, and this just looks at where I am, like where the player is, whether I'm visiting a location or not. If I am visiting a location, it takes the smallest location, like the one I entered last, and if I'm inside a structure, it returns a structure instead. So this treasure-seeking critter will only look inside of whatever group I'm currently in. So if I'm in a building, it should only look at stuff inside the building and any subgroups under that. And if I'm in like a town, it should only look at groups inside that town. That might result in some weird behavior where there's like border states, but I don't think anybody's going to notice. Okay, get all children by type. Why are you not IntelliSensing, buddy? I need... Is this freaking you out? What is going on? I hate how flaky MonoDevelop is. Is there something wrong? There's no way I'm going to remember all of these. Okay, we need to start. This is so stupid. I hate MonoDevelop's IntelliSense. All right, we need a start group. We need a list of script types. We've got that. We need a list of world items. Okay, got that. We need a search origin, a search radius, and a max number of items. Okay. What do we call this? Valuables normal. I'm gonna change the name of that because that's weird. Okay, I've already forgotten what we need. Start group, script types, children of type, origin, radius. We define a radius up here. No, we don't. Let's say 3 units. That's pretty big. Now, did we do it? No, we need max items, and we're going to search for the first one. We're only going to get one of these. Okay. And this is a coroutine, so we have to step through it. I do this. This is the standard way of doing it. If you want to start a coroutine inside of a coroutine, you're supposed to do it like that. But this actually starts another coroutine, and there is overhead associated with that. And if you do it enough times, it starts to add up. So instead, I just get the enumerator and step through it manually. It accomplishes exactly the same thing with no additional overhead. Okay, so we search for that. if we got any valuables. So that's the value position, and then the random variable position. We're getting what's the equivalent of random flower position? I suppose it would be a position on the surface of it, but right now I'm just going to repeat that. I'm just going to get the base position for both. Okay, we're waiting for the variable. La-di-da-di-da. Otherwise, if we don't get anything, we wait for 0.5 seconds, and then we try again. Okay, this might be a little intense in terms of searching because the function that we had for getting the nearest plant wasn't as bad as searching through the children of this group in order to find the nearest child item. So I'm going to preemptively bump this up to 1.5 seconds. And then we'll just have to keep an eye on it. Okay, so while we're waiting for the variable, if the current variable has moved, we set that to null, and then we set waiting to false. Okay. If current variable is occupied. Now this is interesting because initially there's no such property on a world item is occupied. There's such property on a plant. So I'm not positive this waiting behavior makes any sense now. I think we can just have special butterflies walk right up to the thing and we can get rid of this waiting behavior altogether instead of doing the queue thing. All right, I'm going to completely get rid of waiting for valuable. That's going to break a lot of things, but we'll fix them one by one. Why are you not showing up red? Oh, garbage. Garbage IntelliSense. Let's try and compile here. That function looks really useful. Quick question, how do you get the to-dos to highlight? Oh wait, I'm missing a lot of chat, I'm sorry. The first time I was able to get VR to work was also the first time I experienced the Critters 2. Imagine my surprise. Left the big grin on my face for a while after the terror left it. Yeah, I remember in the DK1 seeing the Critters for the first time, and it was a lot of fun. I actually have to go vacuum and then watch the new episode of Flash, so talk to you later. All right. Enjoy. When you say that function looks really useful, I'm guessing you mean get all children by type. And if that's what you mean, then yeah, it's really useful. How do you get the to-dos to highlight? I don't know actually. I think it's just a feature mono develop. I didn't turn anything on. I didn't do it deliberately. Okay. So if we're resting on the valuable and we've not got past our rest on valuable time, chill. Otherwise, we set current valuable. We don't have to worry about that. We just set current valuable to null and move on. Okay. So far so good. World item doesn't have a definition for occupying critter, as I was saying. It doesn't have a definition for is occupied or occupying critter. Da, 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 da. Fly towards valuable. We're no longer waiting for the valuable. We just fly towards it. So all that did was in the fly towards valuable function, if you were waiting for the valuable, I was adding random motion. But since we're never going to be waiting for it, we're just going to be a straight shot. Oh, geez, I didn't redefine that type. Okay, okay. We're probably not going to see this working today, by the way. I'll have to call it quits in about 15 minutes, and I have a feeling we won't get a chance to actually fire it up. But I do feel good about today. Always fun to find that a lot of the work you had to do was already done for you. You know, I wonder, I'm tempted to create a new function that just gets one child item, the first child item, instead of having you pass a list. But you know what? I'm not going to do that. Object does not contain thing for move next. Okay, let's see what it says about that in a minute. It can be a real drag going back to compiling in Frontiers, you know, after working on Felt Tip Circus or whatever, because it's so lightning quick in the other games, and then this one, you have to wait a good 10-15 seconds every time. Okay, what am I screwing up here? Oh, we're not passing it a string. Okay, there's your path. Come on. Well, this is riveting. Okay. Okay. We do not wait by default because there's nothing to wait for. And we don't have to show that in our gizmos. Is that it? Come on. Oh my god. Compile. No, that's alright. I'm calm. I'm not bothered. It's alright. I'll just check the chat. Yeah. Okay. Has it gone through? No, it's still going. What would be the easiest way to test this? You know what I'll do? Maybe we will see it working before I have to stop. What I'll do is I'll change the butterfly to a treasure-seeking critter. And because this isn't a world item or anything, I don't have to save a template or anything like that. That's just what is on this prefab now. So when I spawn in the world, it'll have this script attached to it, which means I can spawn in the world and then drop an item with one of these scripts on it and see if the butterflies congregate to it. Worth a shot. I think my lantern might do the trick actually, because I believe it has a Luminite script attached to it. So I might even already have the thing I need in my inventory. Okay. If this works the first time, I'm going to be blown away. The thing to figure out next is how to keep some critters constant, like to keep them around. I don't intend to actually save their state and like load them as objects the way I do with world items, but if you name a butterfly and it's friendly, then the critter manager needs to know to always spawn a friendly butterfly with that name from that point forward, forever and ever. It won't literally be the same butterfly, but it will appear, you know, from the player's perspective, it will appear to be the same butterfly. So that'll be the next thing, is adding like a save state to the critters manager. Okay. Oh, I don't have a lantern. That's okay, I'll spawn one. Let me see. Lantern 4. Luminite. Alright, so if I spawn a lantern and put it on the ground, these butterflies should light sources, lantern 4. Yeah, that was it. Come on, butterflies, where are you? Oh god. Did we kill them? Did we kill them somehow? Oh, I know. We crashed. Which means the current critter types is empty. Because I never saved that. Alright. Butterfly. Now we should see some start to spawn. Yes. Good, good. Let's get out of the way of their startle distance. Yes. Oh, I didn't think of something. When I put down that lantern, what group did it go into? I wonder if it's going into a group that they can't search for. It went into above ground. Shucks. And my current group is not going to be above ground. My current group is going to be most likely Silverholm. Let's see. Silverholm. Yeah. So they're looking in Silverholm, but meanwhile there's a tasty treat right in front of them in above ground. I'm tempted to just modify the placement system so that when I put it down, it ends up in the group that I'm standing in, the object I mean, and not in above ground. But I know that getting that placement system to work was a nightmare, and I'm very hesitant to modify it. So we're going to take a shortcut here. We're going to take a shortcut, and we're going to just have it search in the above ground group for now. The way we're going to do that is we're going to get our primary chunk, which is the one that we're standing in. We're going to get the above ground group, and we're going to get the path. Okay. And we're going to wait. We're going to wait for the primary chunk to be set before we even try. The odds of the creatures actually spawning before that happens is slim, but we'll wait for the primary chunk to be set before we even try. Okay, so that's not how I want to do it in the long term. Because the thing is, in the above ground group, there's a lot of objects to search through, and even though we're defining a search radius, like most of the objects are going to be outside of our search radius, so it's a lot of wasted effort. And whatever group you're in, the objects in that group are going to be more relevant to you anyway, so it should be what we're searching for. So I'm going to have to fix this later somehow. Out of curiosity, about how many lines of code are in Frontiers would you guess? I did a count at one point, and I included third-party code that I'd modified somehow, that I wasn't just using out of the box, and it was around 90,000 lines. If you include code that I'm just using out of the box without really touching, I want to say like 130,000, something like that. But I can't quite remember. It's been a while. It's a lot of code, though. It's a lot of code. Compiling, compiling, compiling. while we're here. Oh. Okay, let's make sure we add our butterflies so we're not confused again. And let's launch. Okay. What did I set the radius at? 3? It's pretty close. They should be able to see it. Okay. This search function, the get all children by type, is actually what I use for the world map. When you load the world map, I search for all structures, for all cities, for all this, for all that, and I populate the map with them as they are returned by the search. So yeah, super useful function. Took a long time to get it to a place where it was useful. And do you really want butterflies to be attracted to lanterns in the long run? Could get pretty irritating. Potentially result in a lot of dead butterflies. Sorry about all the random questions, but I find Frontiers to be a fascinating project. So don't be sorry. I mean, that's what we're here for. Q&A, man. I don't know if I want them to be attracted to lanterns. I think what I might do is after I get this list of valuables, you know, like this is searching with a net, right? I'm just netting everything I can. I could do something like this, you know, if valuables 0 is world item is luminite, if luminite state is encased in glass, right? That's a type of luminite that I have. Then I would say don't do anything. So I can dig down into what's returned to me and figure out if I actually want to pursue it or not. For instance, hidden. If I actually look at the hidden, haven't used hidden in a while, but this, by the way, what you're seeing here, checking whether something is this script, this is why I made the world item script to begin with, because I could go like this. Game object get component hidden. Well, I couldn't even do that. I'd have to do this. And then if hidden does not equal null, blah, 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 right? This call takes forever. I mean, it doesn't take forever, but if you have 150 world items in a scene and they're making this call, you know, up to 1 times a frame, it tanks performance. So what the world item does is it caches all of the world item scripts that are attached to it. Not every kind of script, but just the world item scripts. So if a script extends world item script, I can search. I can check to see whether it's on the world item very, very, very fast and start manipulating it right away. And this is how you can get really complex interactions going between objects without tanking performance with get component, or without having like a super epic mega component that everything is that all the functionality has to be attached to. So yeah. But anyway, to answer your question, we can make them not look for stuff that's encased in glass, and we can, I believe, I can check to see if it's in effect. Right? So if it's actually been revealed, I don't want the butterfly to go to it either. That was a long roundabout way to say something simple, but what has been the biggest challenge making a large open world in Unity? Just the fact that Unity is not made for this kind of project. Like, you're just not supposed to do this kind of thing in it. Performance, loading and saving, it's just not meant to be done. Okay. There we are. We placed it in the world. Can't tell. I mean, they're not going to it like the flower, that's for sure. Let's check these guys. Let's see if any of them have a current valuable set. None of them do. Just checking its group here. Group is AG. Oops. Come on, guys, right there. Maybe their search radius isn't big enough. I'll turn up the search radius manually. I'll turn it up to 10. So there's no way they won't be able to see it if they're searching and everything's working correctly. Every time I see one starting to go close, I'm like, no, not yet. What? No. All right, it's not working yet. Next time, if I'm not doing Behemoth again, we'll load this up. I will add a bunch of logs to this so that we can track what's happening, and then we'll see if this is actually returning the lamp the way that we want it to. This function is pretty robust. I use it for everything, and it hardly ever fails me, but I might be doing something wrong. So, all right. Good stream. Any other questions before I sign off? What engine would be ideal for a game like Frontiers, or would you just write your own engine? For a game like Frontiers, well, I mean, like an engine that was really designed for it, like Bethesda's engine, whatever that's called. I know it's not Gamebryo anymore. Whatever it is. I mean, that would be ideal. It's hard to say if rolling my own engine would be like, let's just assume I could snap my fingers and, you know, have the budget and time for writing my own engine. Would that be better? I suppose it would now, because exactly what I'm trying to accomplish with Frontiers is so well defined. But if I'd started that at the beginning of the project, like, my goals are obviously so different than what they are now. I don't know, that's a hard one to answer. It's like a snake eating its own tail. You didn't save the in-glass code you were using as an example of an exclusion, did you? I don't think I did. That's a good question. I mean, I don't think it would have compiled. And I didn't, I don't think I did anything with it. Like, I think I just asked if it was in glass and then did nothing. So I'm going to say no. I don't think that was a problem, but we'll find out. We'll find out on another day. Yeah. All right, good stream. It was fun to get away from Behemoth for a little while. I was getting slightly discouraged there, um, and I'll pick it up again soon. But yeah, Critters is fun. All right, until next time. Probably tomorrow. I'll be working on the spell system, so I will catch you then. Bye.